Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. Today we're talking Street Fighter 6, and specifically I want to talk about the Grappler archetype in Street Fighter 6. And that in Street Fighter 6, due to how the rules of the game work, the Grappler archetype might be thriving in a way they usually don't in fighting games. In case you're unaware, most of you are, but just in case you're not, Grapplers, and this is like any game, most characters like Zangief, Potemkin, like whatever, like Grapplers are usually near the bottom of the barrel when it comes to tiers because, well, it's a lot of things, but generally speaking, they just kind of suck in most games. There's a lot of reasons for it. For the most part, they tend to be slow, they have less opportunities, they might get one turn for every 3 or 4 or 5 turns a normal character might get, and just in general, it's rough. It's just rough out there. And the thing is, a lot of what Street Fighter 6 has to offer from what we know from the gameplay mechanics actually helps alleviate a lot of the more traditional grappler issues they have, especially in a Street Fighter setting. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, we do got to discuss the leak for 1 second here. So just in case you're like the one person left who has avoided the leak the entire time, I'll give you a timestamp to skip forward ahead to, but we just got to talk about who are the potential grapplers of Street Fighter 6. Okay, so I'll give you a second, and if you didn't skip ahead by now, then too bad. Now, the Street Fighter 6 roster is probably a little light on grappling, honestly, from what I can go by here. So we might have 2 proper full-on traditional grapplers. Zangief, naturally, of course, right? And hopefully this time around you'll have Green Hand again, which is very helpful. Especially since a lot of the roster probably rocking fireballs again. But yeah, so he's going to be, big, slow, mean grappler. You're going to spend the whole match trying to not get grabbed. He's exactly that archetype. Easy enough. Our second candidate for proper traditional grappler is Marissa, big lady. She's the next biggest character besides Zangief. Big characters tend to be grapplers. I'd imagine she's a bit more like an Abigail or a Hugo compared to Zangief. So maybe her grab isn't like pound for pound as good as Zangief's, but she has more range on her normals or more armor, like Hugo and Abigail compared to Zangief. Pure speculation, but you don't want 2 of the exact same character, right? Like, just at bare minimum, visually, she definitely fits the bill for a grappler style of character. There's characters where the grab will be a big deal, but not necessarily the entire game plan, like say Honda here. Honda, well, there's no future for Honda. I don't see that he doesn't have Oicho Nage, his command grab, where he just dunks you and butt slams you, right? So it won't matter as much as, say, the Zangief grab, but naturally, Honda has to have it. It's still going to be a fairly important part of his game plan. And then there's Mimi, who everyone is speculating is effectively the replacement for Abel. So you get the Abel game plan, grab very important for Abel. You put it on a sexier body, you can sell a lot more costumes and DLC that way, right? So this is the other character I expect that the command grab will matter quite a bit for. Everyone else, hey, who knows? I'm sure there'll be more characters with command grabs, but maybe it's not the biggest deal. Like Jamie has one, although it's more in the young / Fei Long style, where it just gives them a guaranteed combo instead. But yeah, so at least a few characters grapples will be the main objective. Okay, so now grappler talk of who might be a grappler, that's out of the way now. So why exactly would Street Fighter 6 be more accommodating to grapplers than usual compared to, say, any other given Street Fighter game in the franchise? Well, it's all about the new mechanics and the devil's in the details, so let's start talking about it. So the first one's a big one here, and it's not cool, it's not sexy, but it's necessary. And that's the fact that just walk and block is kind of better in a lot of ways. So in Street Fighter 6, you do not take chip damage unless you're completely out of your drive meter. Now, granted, when you block, it's your drive meter now that takes damage, so chip if you will. As you see, every time Jamie blocks here in this sequence, Jamie loses a little bit of drive meter for every block, but he does not lose health. So the thing is, drive meter regenerates, health does not. And a lot of older Street Fighters, if you're a slower grappler character and you're fighting someone who's proficient in zoning, you can lose like a quarter or more of your life just in chip damage trying to get in, right? So at the bare minimum in this game, the usual hard part's still there, sure, of getting in, but if you're just committing to walking and blocking, you might lose a bit of drive meter on your way in, but you will not lose your health. And the thing is, you don't even necessarily have to lose any of your drive meter either, because we have the universal parry added to the game. And universal means exactly that. Everyone gets to use it, even the big dumb slow grappler, right? So when you want to do your walk and block, you can basically not sacrifice any meter. A parried fireball basically refunds the drive cost of the parry, and also the pushback is a bit less. Not a lot less, but it just makes walking blocking or walking parrying more effective. It's a very workman-like thing. It's not the big sick play. I know a lot of people like conflate parries with, like, say, third strike style parries. In this game, parry is more a damage shield than anything else. It just stops you from taking damage. That's it. But that's all you need. These are the tools now for a grappler just to slowly work his way in. And now it's very solid. On top of the fact, after you successfully parry a fireball, you can drive rush cancel it and then gain a lot more space, like, say, focus attack dash cancel like Street Fighter 4. So quality of life, sure, but it's a fairly decent quality of life thing for the average grappler. Now, speaking drive rush is going to be a very big deal for any grappler, guaranteed. Why? It's space. Gaining space with a grappler is half the battle, and here's a mechanic dedicated to exactly that. As we mentioned a second ago, you can parry any fireball, drive rush cancel, boom, you're in for 1 bar. That's great. And also as a mechanic for pressure. So when you drive rush off an attack, it's 3 bars instead of 1 off the parry. But still, this sequence right here, Luke, crouch medium kick, drive rushes in, goes in, he's plus with a jab, goes for a throw attempt. You can see from the sequence as well, after he goes for the drive rush cancel and goes for the quick jab here, he maintains some of the momentum while he's going forward in this situation where he's just a little bit plus, which leads to a basic strike throw mix-up. And wouldn't you know it, grapplers are kind of better at the strike throw mix-up than most characters. This is exactly what they want. Now, instead of Luke doing this setup here, imagine it was Zangief instead. So Zangief, he chose to go with buttons, he got pushed out, but he doesn't have to stay pushed out for the cost of a few drive bars. He's all the way back in with a button, plus on block, in your face, and now guess, another strike or a spinning pile driver. Before, Zangief, or really any given grappler in Street Fighter, right, when they were pushed out, but now, as long as they have meter, they can keep running back in and keeping their turn and trying to keep you back in the blender, and that's a lot scarier than it normally is. In fact, thanks to Gamescom and the Street Fighter, I can help you visualize this with a little example. So this is Jamie, so it's not a damage command grab, this is EX grab unless you get a combo instead, and it looks like a sizable combo because it does a good amount of damage here as you can see, but that's basically the essence right there. Using drive rush to sneak his way in and then get the command grab, which is basically what it's all about. And drive rush, unlike say a traditional dash, you can at least cancel partway through the animation so you're not stuck through all of it. So it's definitely going to be a lot more effective and a lot more tricky than just dash up grab for sure on basically every conceivable level, either through once again parrying your way in and doing it, or like doing it through a block string, whatever. There's going to be so many more opportunities to get in and sneak a grab compared to any other version of Street Fighter ever. And finally, and potentially one of the biggest deals just out of the gate, is the punish counter mechanic. So if you're unaware, it takes place of like crush counter in a lot of ways from Street Fighter V. It gives you more hit stun so you can create new combos like a counter hit. It activates new properties of some moves so you might get special states like a juggle or something when you win before. And more importantly, it increases damage, and that damage increase applies to throws. Moves in Street Fighter getting more damage like counter hit or whatever situation, that's not anything different in Street Fighter. But a throw getting the bonus damage, that's a bit different. And there's no reason, right now no characters in the current build have a command throw that does damage, but if regular throws get a damage boost, that means all throws should get a damage boost. Let me show you an example here. So Ryu, regular throw, as you're about to see, nothing too special about it. And then next we go to Jamie, who gets a punish counter because throws punish counter all parry attempts, and it does a fair bit more damage. Now, I know this isn't the most mathematical comparison here, to be sure, right? But one bar obviously bigger than the other. Regular throw damage up top, and punish counter throw damage at the bottom. Even if there's a little variance between Jamie and Ryu's throw damage, obviously the punish counter throw does a lot more damage. Considering there's a little bit of an RPS, rock, paper, scissors element in the game because of parry being frame 1, anytime you throw a parry, it's a guaranteed punish counter. which means, say, if you try to parry Zangief on your wake up and he goes for spinning pile driver instead, he could potentially rip off half your life, going by how the damage bonus might work out. So this potentially just makes strike throw mix up all the stronger yet, because if you try to parry to beat a strike and they go for that throw, that command grab, you're going to be eating way more damage than just the usual. And plus, you know, punish counter being punish counter, it also means if they block an uppercut or something, that just gives them more damage if they choose to punish you with a command grab instead as well. So in the end, these are some of my reasons why grapplers might be better than they usually are come Street Fighter 6, just thanks to all the mechanics that are going to help them out. Get zoned out? Well, it's easier to walk and block your way in. Granted, you still got to be patient. If you're not patient, well, then you probably shouldn't play a grappler, right? And also will give you more opportunities to, well, actually not be patient, just go a little crazy thanks to the drive rush, right? Sneak your way in, gimmick a throw, any way you can think of, off a parry drive rush, off drive rushing off normals to work your way back in when you should have in any other game been pushed out and then have to work your way in the hard way. This game lets you basically cheat and try again at the cost of your meter. That's going to be great, man, and you're going to get bamboozled, guaranteed. And also just more damage than normal, thanks to the light RPS element of parries being in the game, and you get a guaranteed punish counter off a parry when you grab them, which means more damage off whatever grabber you're doing, be it regular throw all the way to spinning pile driver. All these things absolutely work in the favor of grapplers. Now, that all said, grapplers probably will still be the worst kind of characters in the game, because that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But it's nice to know there's at least a glimmer of hope in the future, and that's my thoughts on the matter. And I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter. So post in the comments below what you think, and otherwise, well, we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.